Hello to you, the lovely person listening, and welcome back, everyone, to your favourite podcast, Growing and Glowing, with me, your host, Mrs. Ellie Swift. Oh, I've missed you so much. This podcast is our safe space to delve into all things life learnings there may be, from spirituality, grief, friendship, motherhood, and so much more, to provide you with a friend through what can be the very up and down journey that is growing and, of course, glowing into the very best version of who you truly are. Oh my goodness, guys, I have missed you so much. Welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's a pleasure to be back. Honestly, I've really missed being online and chatting with you all and doing the podcast. It has been a hot minute. She's a mum of two. I have two sons. I have two beautiful children, and actually sat in this chair right now recording this podcast takes me back to when I was last here, and I was like, oh, I'm about to give birth, when's it going to be? And it just all felt like so unknown. Like, even though I'd done it once before, it was like, oh my God, this is like a whole new dynamic that I'm about to enter. Oh, like, looking at his nursery out of the corner of my eye in the next room, I just remember really being in that, like, when you can feel you're about to step into a new chapter of life. You know you're about to step into a new era. That's where I was, and it feels just honestly harmonious to be sat right in the thick of the first 2 pages of that next chapter. I've never been happier. Why are these bubbles of, like, these pockets of the most wonderful things that happen to you in life? Like, one of my best friends got proposed to last night, and she was like, oh my God, the engagement bubble is so real. And I was like, honey, I remember it, babe. That was like the first bubble I had, the engagement bubble. Then I had the newborn bubble for the first time. No, then I had the pregnancy, finding out you're pregnant for the first time, the pregnancy bubble, then the newborn bubble, then the wedding bubble, and then I went back into the newborn bubble again. I feel like I'm just coming out of the newborn bubble now. I feel like when it's not your first, you have to kind of like jump back into reality a little bit quicker. I feel like, unfortunately, that newborn bubble doesn't last for, like, what felt like with Saint for months and months and months. But the bubbles are so real. They're just beautiful. It's just such a beautiful, beautiful part of life. And here I am, returning back to you in your car, in your headphones, in your AirPods, whatever you're listening to me today on. I'm so happy to be back with you. And I also just want to say as well, a huge, oh my goodness, from the very bottom of my heart, my soul, thank you for the most beautiful words of support, encouragement, love, for welcoming Romeo, my little heart stealer, heartbreaker, into the world. He has just knocked me for 6 on so many levels. Like, you think you know love, and then you have a baby, and then you're just floored, and then you have another baby, and then you're like floored even more, because it's like, I thought this love had a capacity. Like, I thought I knew what love for my child was with my first, and then you have another one, and you're like, oh my God, it just doubles, because it does, even though you can't imagining it getting even bigger and doubling. Like, honestly, after nearly 2 years of motherhood now, I sat there this morning nearly overwhelmed at the amount of love I have for my kids. Like, you just can't even fathom it. Oh my God, it's just beautiful. But thank you so much for all of the love and really, really beautiful messages. It's just been so lovely and so kind of you, and also just for your patience with me as I really took some time to welcome in that new flow of life. I really embraced taking a little bit of time this time. When it was my first postpartum experience, I I feel like this is quite a common theme when it's your first child, but you're almost like still wearing the hat of the identity you used to be before you gave birth, because you've not quite grappled the new identity. You've not quite sunk your teeth into the fact that you have just gone through like the biggest rocket ship of growth you could potentially ever go through as a woman. I feel like when you give birth and you become a mum, and you kind of like are handed like this little bundle of joy that you promise to look after and love forever and ever and ever, for eternity. Like, yeah, I remember in my first postpartum experience, I just was really trying hard to get back to who I was, and that meant not really giving myself a bit of a break. Like, not just having those days in bed, but being really gentle and kind with myself, and really honouring doing nothing for the day, like minimising my to-do list. I don't really feel like I had that experience. But with my second this time, I mean, I feel like I did so much spiritual growth in between my two babies anyway, but this experience of having Romeo has been a whole nother bout of spiritual growth, and in that I've just really, really welcomed a bit of downtime. And I don't know if any of you guys have heard of the 5-5-5 rule in postpartum. I actually explained it on my vlog that I uploaded yesterday. That was such a thrill, uploading on YouTube again. I was like, who am I? Who is she? She's a mum of two uploaded onto YouTube, like some cool chick. Oh my God, I was so happy to be back on there. I'm feeling really excited about everything. I don't know, I just have such an excited energy at the moment. I'm excited to be back on YouTube. I'm excited for the vlogs that are coming. I kind of feel like, speaking really openly and honestly and candidly, my confidence was just really knocked for a really, really long time with YouTube. And uploading that video yesterday, it wasn't just like a first video of like having two kids back. For me, in my soul, it was like, I'm back. Like, I am back. I have my confidence back. I have my mojo back. I have my motivation. I'm ready to go. This is who I am, and I feel really happy and confident with vlogging again. And yeah, I don't know, that was just kind of like a bit of a significant moment for me yesterday, and I didn't realise it until after I'd uploaded the video, really. It was when I was sat in bed reading all of your comments and reading through all of your messages. It was almost like a wash of just like feeling connected again, once again, like a connection that I've been trying to get hold of for the longest time again. Even though I never stopped loving it, I just feel like my confidence was really knocked. And then yesterday, yeah, I don't know, I just feel really happy to be back. Anyway, I digress hugely. Can you tell I've not podcasted for X amount of weeks? I just feel like I have so much to say. Oh my God, this is going to be like the biggest catch up in the world. But let's kick off with the affirmation of the day. I want everybody to put a hand over their heart, take a deep breath in and release. Feel the sunshine on your face today. Give me a smile. As I say to my 6-week-old, give me a smile. And repeat after me. I am attracting the most beautiful energies in where I am at this very moment. Let's do it again. I am attracting the most beautiful energies in where I am at this very moment. No matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, even if you're in the muddy middle of a muddy situation, there's so much beautiful energy that is available to flow right through to you. You know what we say over here on Growing and Glowing, guys? Just be open to it. Be open to the abundance, be open to the beautiful energy that is life, happiness, positivity. I promise it's there. Even if you can't feel it, I promise it's there. And it's trying so hard to get through to you. So, shall we kick off with a little bit of a birth story? Now, I'm not going to do this in too much detail because I did actually upload our whole birth vlog onto YouTube. Love a birth vlog. You guys know me. One of the most magical moments of life, documented forever. Just, oh my God. So yeah, I'm going to try really hard not to blabber on about it too much. But in short, I was induced once again. Now, I know when we last spoke over here on G&G, I was like, I really want to just let my body do its thing as naturally as possible. I would love to just see if my body can like do it on its own, basically, because I kind of felt with my first induction with Saint like I was robbed of that experience a little bit, even though an induction with Saint at the time is exactly what I wanted. This time, going through the whole pregnancy, I just was like, I really, really want to just labour as long as possible at home. I want to have my waters break at home. I want to feel contractions at home. I want to be with Saint as long as possible. And it didn't happen. I was called in for an induction because of a few reasons. If you've watched my birth log, you will know it was mainly for a shoulder dystocia that I had in Saint's birth. It took me a little while to come around to the idea of being induced again, just because, like I said, I had this like image of my mind, as much as I, with both my births, have always been like, I don't really have a birth plan, I'm just going to see what happens. I guess I just kind of romanticised in my mind this idea of how I would do it in an ideal world. And it took me an evening or so, I'm not going to lie, it took me the evening to come to terms with the fact that, you know, I was going to be in hospital again for kind of what felt like with Saint, my induction with Saint, like an unlimited amount of time. I think that was probably just because I was so impatient at that phase in my life. I was really I still am impulsive, but like, oh my God, there's nothing like a woman at the end of her pregnancy waiting for her baby to be born, and everyone else is asking you, is the baby born yet? Has the baby arrived? And you're like, trust me, I am the one person that would actually love to know the answer to that question, and it's no. Has anybody got estimated arrival time, babe? Because I would love to know. But I think I just had a lot of emotion about the fact that it felt so long in the hospital last time. I didn't want that again this time because I had quite a lot of anxiety in leaving Saint. Now, I kind of feel like this is something that isn't really discussed very much, because I kind of felt like I was almost judging myself a little bit with these anxious thoughts at the end of my pregnancy, waiting to go into birth. I just never really heard anybody talk about it. It was almost like, yeah, the excitement of baby number 2 is just so overwhelming, or baby number 3 or number 4, whatever, that it like overrides any feelings of anxiety, or not like sadness, but apprehension, I guess, of the unknown and leaving your child or children at home while you go off to welcome another one. And because Saint was my only one, he obviously still is the light of my whole life, but he never really has spent any time away from me or Connor. Nobody else has really ever put him to bed. He's never had a sleepover with anybody. He is really developing so quickly at the moment as well that I was just really worried about, like, how is he going to adjust even to the time I'm in hospital, let alone then bringing home a whole nother baby and like rocking his world forever, you know? So I found it really emotional when I was in hospital. If you guys have watched the birth vlog, you'll know. Found it really emotional when Connor and Saint came to visit me and then went home again, because it was just a really blunt reminder that things are never going to be the same again. Now I'm completely on the other side. Obviously, here I am with my 2 beautiful children, my 6-week-old and my nearly 2-year-old. Saint has adjusted to siblinghood. Oh my goodness, like better than I could honestly have ever asked. I'm beyond proud of that little boy. He is just my sun, my moon and my stars, as is Romeo. But now I sit here on the other side. I wish I could go back to my pregnant self that was worrying about that, the version of me that was lying in the hospital bed crying, nervous about how Saint was going to respond, so emotional about how that was it in my mind of my time with Saint, which I want to say, by the way, to any pregnant woman feeling like that, it's actually not the end of your time with them. So please, I know it, like, that probably is like, yeah, whatever, Ellie, I don't believe you. Now I'm here with 6 weeks almost under my belt of having 2 kids. That one-on-one time with your oldest, or the child that is already here, doesn't actually go away, because it's still there when the baby is napping. It's still there when dad can have the baby for a bit, or when you go out on a shopping trip, just the two of you together. Like, that one-on-one time is still very, very, very much available to you, and it's something that I have had to work really hard on in this postpartum phase of my life, because I did feel within the first 2 weeks or so that I would just desperately missed Saint. And I was looking down at Romeo with so much love for him, but also being filled with so much emotion, because it was like, it's Romeo. If you guys haven't seen any pictures or anything of Romeo, he looks really similar to how Saint did when Saint was a newborn, like twins. It's literally like we did copy and paste, especially within those first couple of days, couple of weeks in that real kind of newborn phase. Now he's getting a little bit older, I do see a lot more difference, but it was literally like looking down at Saint as a newborn. It was like having a time machine and going back to that moment. And it was like, I miss Saint so much, even though he's literally only out in the garden playing with Connor. And that was almost like even harder, because I could hear him laughing and giggling and wishing I could be out there with him, but it's too hot out there for a 5-day-old baby. We're exclusively breastfeeding. Romeo's cluster feeding. So I'm kind of holding Romeo. So even if I wanted to, I couldn't like run around and be crazy with Saint and roll on the floor with him and jump off the slide. I don't know, whatever he like wanted me to do in that time that my 2-year-old little boy wants me to do. It just felt like there was a part of me that was now newly unavailable. But it lasted for about 2 weeks, honestly, those first 2 weeks. And I feel like it wasn't even necessarily anything to do with Romeo at all or Saint at all. It was more all to do in my mind with, I think actually a little bit of inner child work was coming through there, because I've spoken to my therapist about it since. And she was explaining how more often than not, those feelings in postpartum, of course, are driven by hormones and like the adjustment of trying to get used to a new baby as well as your existing children. But a lot of it is just to do with your own inner child. And I think I was projecting my own emotions of abandonment and fear and almost feelings of being pushed out, unloved, unwanted in my mind onto Saint. Like, that's what I was worrying about that Saint was feeling. Saint had no idea, babe. Saint was outside having a run around with his dad, like laughing his head off. He was not sat there crying in the corner about mum's abandoned me and the baby's taken her away from me. And actually, this whole like inner child chat really takes me to the core of what I want today's episode to be about. Obviously, I'm, giving you guys a hell of a life update, and there's still more on the birth that I want to talk about, but today's episode really is all about using this postpartum period, even if you've not had a baby, just a period of challenge, a period of newness, a period of adjustment, rather than seeing it as like the hardest thing in the world with all of these problems. Like in my mind, Saint was feeling abandoned and had all this fear. Instead of seeing it through the lens of fear, seeing it through the lens of love, and allowing this moment in time, this postpartum moment in time, and seeing it as what it really is, which is a tremendous potential period of growth and an opportunity to really rediscover who you are in your truest essence, who you really are. Like, that inner child that I was projecting in my mind onto Saint, that is an essence of who I truly am, because there are abandonment issues there. There are feelings of feeling unloved and unworthy, and it's reaching into yourself and listening to what is coming up in those moments of hard times. I know we've discussed using hard times to your advantage so much here on Growing and Glowing, but feeding the good wolf, not the bad wolf, whatever that story, that saying is, even when it feels impossible, because there are moments in postpartum, there's moments in motherhood, there's moments in life where everything just feels impossible. It just feels like, how am I supposed to do this? God knows I felt like that. I've had that thought process umpteen times since having Romeo. How am I supposed to keep 2 children alive, keep a marriage healthy and happy, keep a tidy house, get back to work, look after myself, like have good nutrition and work out, and I'm not even being funny, some days step outside of the house. Like, how am I supposed to do that? That's genuinely some of the thought process I've been having. A whole day will go by and I'll be like, I've literally not even stepped in the garden today. I've not had a one breath of fresh air. That's how it can be sometimes. And instead of looking at that, thinking as though it's all impossible, just trusting everything will get done in perfect timing. New flows of life do take adjustment. It does take time to get used to a new way of life, but it doesn't mean that there's so much beauty and happiness and fulfillment and joy on the other side of getting used to simply what is your new rhythm. So much growth in hard times. So much growth in the challenging moments of life. Postpartum and birth can be the most rewarding times in life, not just in terms of how much love you feel for your baby and how much happiness there is in that little newborn bubble or pregnancy bubble, but it can be the most rewarding time even in terms of spiritual growth if you allow it. And it's just simply about changing your attitude towards these situations, towards the sleepless nights, towards the feeling like a huge lack of identity, because I know that that's something I have felt as well in this postpartum period. God, do you know what? We're really not following my notes here. We're like jumping in and out of all of these bullet points that I wanted to touch upon, but we're just going to follow the natural flow of how things are coming to me in my mind. Lack of identity as someone else who is not just a mother is something that has really been sitting with me, and I feel like, again, that's just another really big thing in postpartum. You feel so like thrown in the deep end with everything. Like, you're on a hormonal roller coaster, you have a healing body, you do have a new identity in some sense of being a mother of however many children, which, regardless if you've already got 5 children, you're still getting used to a new identity of having 6 children, you know? All while you're probably tired because of the deprived sleep. There was a moment when it was Connor's 30th birthday when Romeo was about 4 weeks old, and I had organised this big surprise barbecue for him with all of our friends. At like a really, really gorgeous venue. It was a beautiful sunny day. It was probably the first time, if not one of the first handfuls of time, that I had put makeup on and wasn't wearing pajamas. Genuinely, like, I looked in the mirror and I was like, who is she? It's nice to have her back for 5 minutes. That version of me, you know, that's like a little bit done up and not looking like the definition of postpartum. I've literally put a bit of concealer on today because these dark under eyes, they are almost big enough in themselves to be serving a whole new identity on their own, honey. Let me tell you that. But actually, looking in the camera, I feel like the redness of my eyeballs are not matching up to this, like, you know, clean girl, healthy girl, soft girl era aesthetic that I'm trying to achieve with my concealer covering up my under eyes, #fake. Yeah, I'd organise this barbecue, and the majority of our friends don't have children yet. You know, the majority of our friends are kind of only just really getting settled into serious relationships. Connor and I are so lucky to have found each other so young in life. We met when I was only 18. Connor just turned 21. But it's been our path in life to get serious about things pretty quickly. Like, we got married. We have 2 babies. We've not even been together for 10 years yet. Sometimes it takes 10 years for people to even move in together or, you know, reach those kind of milestones. So for us, we, in comparison to our average of our friendship group, we've done it all really early. And so we were like one of only 2 or 3 couples there that had children. Obviously, me literally being only 4 weeks postpartum, Romeo's this like tiny little thing. Even just like sitting inside breastfeeding Romeo for half an hour while Saint sits next to me watching Peppa Pig on my phone because he also wants mummy. And like looking out the window, because I have to sit in the shade with the babies, looking out the window to all of our friends like sat so carefree, drinking in the sun. They all have plans to go out into town afterwards because it was like an afternoon thing. It was a Saturday night. They're going to go out, whatever. And just feeling like that aspect of life, that way of living life was so, I can't explain. I've never felt like it before other than in that moment. It felt so alien to me. It literally felt like the only way I'd be doing that was if I was living in some sort of parallel universe. Like, the idea of drinking an alcoholic drink, the idea of sitting out in the sunshine with not holding a baby or having another one attached to my leg, even thinking about what they're doing if I'm not with them, like even if we'd have chosen to get babysitters for this afternoon for Connor's birthday, I'd have still been thinking in the back of my mind, are they okay? Has Saint been put down for his nap? Did Romeo take the bottle okay? Has he been burped? What's he wearing? Blah, 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 blah. Like, I was just so in the thick of mum identity, of postpartum hood. This other identity that is in me, obviously, deep down somewhere, just not coming to light right now because she's not needed right now. It's the postpartum, it's mum me that is needed right now. It's mum version of me that does need to come through right now. It was just like Ellie on her own, that this glimpse of it, like imagining me sat on my chair next to a couple of other friends in the sun drinking a drink, not having a care in the world, thinking about going out later tonight, not worrying about bedtime or bath time or whatever. It all just felt so... how does that exist? Do you know what I mean? It was just such a bizarre moment for me, and I've not ever really had that. I didn't ever really have that with Saint. I don't know if it's because I put myself in, you know, this social environment really quickly after having Romeo, and maybe my hormones were just all over the place. I don't know, but it was just a real stark reminder of not only how easy it is just to fall into the trap of motherhood being your identity, but also how much pregnancy, postpartum, birthing a child is on the mum. I'm so incredibly lucky to have such a supportive husband, that we are lucky enough to have him at home with me and with the kids. I will never take it for granted. I'm fully aware that I'm, beyond blessed, beyond lucky to have that. But regardless, the pressure is on for the mums, isn't it? You literally give your body up in pregnancy. If you choose to breastfeed, you again choose to give your body up. You have your hormones all over the place. I'm not someone who leaving my babies comes to very easily. Like, I've had friends who are so confident and so comfortable in like returning to their identity of, you know, who they are as not a mum, and connecting to her really quickly after having a baby. And while that is so brilliant for them, and I'm almost like envious of that confidence to go out and do that, that just does not come naturally to me. I'm like a nervous wreck when it comes to leaving my babies, honestly. And while I admit that's definitely got easier with Saint as he's got older, like I said, he's nearly 2. I just feel like I've been thrown right back there with Romeo. Like it's like I almost have separation anxiety when it comes to my kids and my babies. And that's just not really something that Connor experiences. So I don't know. I just feel like it's a lot on the mum, isn't it? And I just remember being, sat there at this barbecue. It was like a freeze frame almost. I feel like it's something that will stick with me forever. And then I just thought, even though I'm feeling this lack of identity, I'm feeling this like rush of, who am I? Will that side of me ever return? Can't connect with her. Like, I still sat there and I still thought I would choose to be where I am right now. I'd still choose to be in this exact position with this baby on my breast and my toddler on my arm watching Peppa Pig next to me. Any moment, any day of the week, I'd still choose to be exactly here, because motherhood, my children, the lessons that motherhood teaches you, the growth that it offers you, the joy that comes from just simply being somebody's mummy is my happiness. Even though there are moments of toughness, even though there are moments of lack of identity, sleepless nights, worry, fear, oh my God, I would choose it over anything in a bloody heartbeat. It just is my happiness. But you know, those moments of loving it unconditionally 24/7, and when I say loving it, I don't mean love my children, I mean loving the whole process of motherhood and pregnancy and giving birth, etc. It's not something that always comes easy, because there are those hard moments. Of course there are. Of course there are those overwhelming moments. I wouldn't be human if I didn't admit to having those overwhelming moments. But it's the awareness of choosing to see it again through a lens of love and being patient and recognizing that these situations aren't my problem. It's what's triggering it in me that is the problem. So, for example, feeling like this huge lack of identity, lack of self, it's like, okay, but where can I connect to her if I am really feeling that right now? And at the moment, honestly, connecting to myself is doing something like having a shower. Doesn't sound very romantic to some, doesn't sound very big and grand, but that is my reality. Having half an hour to have a luxury shower, shaving my legs, washing my hair, moisturising, listening to a podcast. Those are my moments when I can just grab a little bit of connection to myself. Taking a few deep breaths as I give Saint his breakfast, feeling my energy kind of clear of any darkness or fear or worry, allowing white light to kind of surround me and connect to that. That is my opportunity at the moment to connect to who I am. It's not the drinking alcohol in the sun, do you know what I mean? Even though at times that sounds absolutely bloody gorgeous, and I'd love a bit of that for 5 minutes, I also know that ultimately I don't think really that would bring me my true happiness, because it's not my true essence of self. I'm not someone who loves alcohol. But that moment persuaded me that I would love a drink, and that's me speaking really openly and honestly. I'm a 27-year-old mum of 2, babe. If I want to say that moment made me, yes, want to sip a bit of a cocktail in the sun with my mates, what are you going to do? But what I'm saying is, it's not actually that would have brought me the happiness, it's the finding myself in that moment. And so where can I apply that to myself right now in postpartum, 5-6 weeks post-birth, with 2 young babies that I don't feel confident or comfortable enough to leave just yet? There has to be some sort of compromise there, you know? And I have to own up to the fact that even though a cocktail and some with my friends would be nice, I'm the one holding myself back from not doing it. I could have easily got a babysitter. I could have chosen not to be exclusively breastfeeding. I could have been able to put myself in that situation, but I'm the one that ultimately chose not to, because I know that deep down, even though there are moments of hardness right now, it is motherhood that brings me my truest happiness, honestly. Going straight back to our affirmation of the day, I'm attracting the most beautiful energies where I am in this very moment. Even when it's hard, I'm still attracting the most beautiful energies and choosing to see them, you know? On the other side of my hormones, I don't know what these hormones are doing to me, but honestly, if you've watched my vlog, you will know I am desperate for number 3. Can you believe those words are coming out of my mouth after this whole bloody cocktail in the sun story? I am just being called to number 3 right now. I don't know what it is, but something is just calling me towards it. Maybe it's the hormones. Maybe it's another spirit baby in my aura ready to come through. And they're going to be like, surprise. We've said, oh God, this is TMI. This is like me really bearing all, but we're besties, so it's okay. Me and Connor have said to each other, we're not going to actively try, but let's just say I'm not on contraception. Although I am breastfeeding, and isn't breastfeeding like a natural form of contraception? I don't know. But if it doesn't happen, like as a surprise, by a certain time period, then we are going to actively try not to get pregnant, because then that would mean another summer baby. And I've literally got Romeo in May. Romeo was born on the 5th of the 5th month, 23. 2 add 3 is 5. He was born in birthing suite number 5. So there were loads of number 5s, right, as I was giving birth. There were also loads of number 9s. I'll tell you why in a minute. But number 5s mean positive spiritual energy, okay? A period of growth. Number 9s, he was born at 9:09 p.m. at 9 pounds on the dot. Number 9 means enlightenment, it means new adventures. It also represents completion, but not a final, like, total ending, which I thought was really interesting, because I do feel so fulfilled, and I do feel like our family, I've wanted to put on Instagram so many times, like as captions and stuff, that our family feels completed, but I don't want to say that because then I know that people are going to be like, oh, well, why are you going to have another baby, blah, blah, blah. Because our family does feel completed. Now that Romeo is here, there is a sense of this is who we were waiting for all along. But it also doesn't feel like a final ending, like it doesn't feel like the last chapter. Do you know what I mean? So that's just a little bit of G&G gossip for you there. I won't be saying that anywhere else. So if you listen to Growing and Glowing and you just heard that, you've got a bit of insider gossip. Almost just like a fulfillment of one cycle and ready to initiate the next one, you know? So that's what number 9 means. Lots of number 9s, lots of number 5s surrounding Romeo's birth. He was actually also born on a Scorpio lunar eclipse, which means he's going to be intuitive, very intuitive, bold, brave, fearless, very strong personality, like a sixth sense for things, very rich in life. At least this is what astrology tells me that he'll be anyway. But yeah, anyway, I've got Romeo in May, I've got Connor in June, I've got Saint in July, I've also got Katie in July. My mum's birthday was in August, so that's like a bit of emotion for me. And I'm in December, so I would love, like, basically a child that is not going to be born in the summer next time. But if that is their destiny and if they're meant to be born in the summer, then so be it. Who knows? I just really feel like they're in my aura, honestly. Ready to come through. And that's how I felt with both boys before they were born. But let's see. What will be, will be. And that's a little bit of my woo-woo side coming out there, but I know you all love her deep down. Anyway, that kind of feels like a bit of a natural ending to today's episode, guys. Another long one. Will there ever be a Growing and Glowing episode apart from the Cup of Positivities? I hope you guys liked that episode. Let me know if you'd like more of them. And if so, please do let me know what you would like me to chat about on them quickly. If you don't know what I'm talking about, a couple of episodes back we did a Cup of Positivity episode, which is just like a purposefully shorter episode as just like a bit of a pep talk, a bit of a quickie, self-love quickie on something. And if you like them, then please let me know and I will do more of them and what you would like them to be on. But again, today, another classic Eleanor Swift episode of probably an hour, but hope you didn't mind. It's been a lovely catch up. It's felt incredibly cathartic just to do like a big release of so much stuff today. I still feel like there's stuff I need to talk to you about. Can't remember what though. I'm sure it will all come out. I plan on doing like a big Q&A episode, maybe on here or maybe on YouTube, I'm not sure yet, of anything I've kind of missed of the postpartum period. But my, it feels good to be back. It feels good to be talking to you all again. It feels good to share with you all again. It feels good to have my mates back, you know? Just wish I could give you all a like ginormous big cuddle and just really say thank you from the bottom of my heart for how lovely you've all been, as always, of course. But I've just felt really supported and really loved through this postpartum period by you guys, so thank you so much. Anyway, I will leave you to your day. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, my loves. Oh, we haven't done the Growing and Glowing moments of the week. Oh my gosh. Do you know what? I'm just going to leave it really simple. Glowing moment, I birthed a child. Growing moment, I birthed a child. And that's what I did in the last 6 weeks. They are my G&G moments of this episode. But as usual, please do take some time to reflect on your Growing and Glowing moments of the week. Where did you grow this week? Where did you glow this week? What are you proud of? What's something you've learned? And I want you to know, however your week has gone, whatever you're going through right now, I'm really, really, really proud of you. And you need to know that you are exactly where you need to be right now. You're doing amazing. So well done. You're an amazing person. You're so loved. And I just think you're smashing it, honestly. And I'm really, really proud of you. So well done. And I love you endlessly. Thank you so much for watching or listening today, guys. Don't forget to follow us and subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and of course YouTube. Let me know what you would like me to do some more episodes on. I love you. Have a lovely week. And I will speak to you next Monday. Bye, guys.